Welcome to Balanced Beauty Talks, the podcast where we redefine skin health through a holistic lens.
I'm Natasha, an esthetician and nutritional practitioner passionate about helping you nourish your skin from the inside out.
I'm Dr. Khadija, an esthetician and naturopathic doctor here to explore the natural pathways to radiant skin.
And I'm Alicia, an esthetician and skincare enthusiast. Together, we're diving deep into the world of aesthetics, merging modern treatments with internal wellness so you can achieve long-lasting results without compromising your health.
Whether you're a seasoned professional looking to elevate your practice or someone seeking effective solutions for conditions like acne, you're in the right place.
Join us as we share expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tips that empower you to embrace a truly balanced approach to beauty.
So get cozy and prepare to transform the way you think about skincare.
Welcome to Balanced Beauty Talks.
Please note that the information provided in this podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you heard on this podcast. Your health and well-being are important, and we encourage you to make informed decisions.
Welcome back. Today we're going to get real about the industry pet peeves, the skincare myths, bad habits, and behind-the-scenes frustrations that every esthetician deals with. From ineffective treatments to unrealistic expectations, we're breaking it all down. Let's get into it. So with social media being such a hot commodity, especially in our industry, showcasing both work behind the scenes, TikTok trends, influencers, there's so many things out there that probably drive not just us, but many other SDs a little bit crazy, and we want to dive deep into those today. Mm-hmm. So who wants to start? Maybe Alicia, what's one of your pet peeves?
The list is long, but one of the big ones that really gets to me is clients that are going on holiday and they want to get a quote unquote base tan. So let's break a base tan down. That is the equivalent of an SPF, maybe 3 to 6. Mm-hmm. So it's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So please just go get yourself a spray tan.
Yeah.
Do your skin a favor. Don't accelerate the aging. Don't increase your risk of skin cancer. Stay out of the tanning beds because we're doing the Lord's work in those treatment rooms. So no more base tans, guys. They don't mean anything. It's not a real thing. That is a skin myth.
Yeah. And if you're doing it for appearance, like you said, spray tan, they've come such a long way.
I am pale girl. I'm pale. Okay. Yeah. I am a Fitz one. I have never tanned naturally in my life. God knows I've tried. I've caused an enormous amount of sun damage in my younger years. Lots of freckles, lots of sun damage, lots of sunburns. No, I don't want to be pale on a holiday. I get it. I really do. But go get a spray tan or find a really good tanning product that you can do at home, because a base tan does not mean anything. Mm-hmm. Period. Drop the mic there.
Yeah, I like it. Good job. Okay, I want to go next. So one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's been a few years that I have been seeing this, is a treatment room pet peeve. So there are some skincare professionals out there doing jelly masks on their clients' faces with a LED dome that's about 1 to 2 feet up from the face. So not only is it up way too far, research shows that an LED light has to be at least about 6 inches from the area that you're treating. Mm-hmm. So it's not only too far, but you also have this jelly mask that's acting as a complete cover over the skin. So there's no actual light penetrating. So while it looks fun and fancy and luxurious on Instagram or TikTok, it's doing absolutely nothing. And it's such a shame because LED light therapy is incredible, but you're getting no results there whatsoever. And I see this so much because it's pretty on Instagram, but it does nothing. And it kind of takes away the professionalism and the validity of that skincare professional's career when you do that. Like, where's the research?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very clickbaity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You can hear the intensity in our voices in this episode. Yeah. Because for some of us, this is like 20 years of hostility that's been built up on some of these pet peeves that we're just like, oh, not again. Yeah. So if we sound a little intense, that's why.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're just getting it all out.
Yep. You have a few less years probably of intensity.
Not as
but,
angry yet.
You're not as
I'm
angry.
sure I'll get
but
there.
you're going to get there.
Less hostility across the table. Okay.
Well, one of my pet peeves, and it's actually something I used to do, so I get why people do this, but is putting coconut oil on your face as a skincare product.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the intention behind it is hydration, because we think of coconut oil as very hydrating, but the molecular size of coconut oil is just too big for your skin, so you can't actually absorb it. You're not going to really get much out of it, and if anything, it's going to be clogging your pores. That and like castor oil is another common one. Castor oil is a very, very thick oil.
Yeah.
So you just run the risk of clogging your pores. And it's often like those are two ingredients I often look for in what people are using at home. If there's kind of like that constant congestion, you can often find coconut oil in the ingredients, and that can be the culprit for people. So I just like to stay away from that completely.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go again. This one is a little bit more new. And while I absolutely love capturing a luxurious facial massage on camera and showcasing that and showcasing the beautiful experience behind it, I think it's getting taken a little too far. There is so much theater or theatrical massaging going on where we're no longer like massaging people with passion and intention to help bring their nervous systems down and the tension down. Now suddenly we're slapping the face and how fast can we do this? And like, it's really hard to describe on a podcast here, but there is some major theater going on, and like, let's just slow down. Let's enjoy an intentional massage that's going to really, calm the client down, bring down their nervous system, and actually move lymph. Lymph is not going to move if you're being slapped in the face.
No.
It's a very gentle movement that has to be made in order to help move lymph. And for some reason, we are calling this facial sculpting, and you can't sculpt if you're not moving lymph. So So intentional massage. Let's get rid of the theater. Let's showcase nice, relaxing experiences versus how fast you can slap someone's face around.
Yeah. And something else I see with that is like the buccal massage or the intraoral massage too. I think there can be a lot of theater with that too.
Yeah.
And I think with that, you have to be so mindful, because that is actually a very sensitive massage.
Yeah.
It's actually better to, especially the first time someone's getting that, it's better to be a bit more gentle and kind of work with the person rather than really getting in like deep into the muscles. And the jaw is actually a place that holds a lot of emotion for people. So a lot of people will tear up, and some of it is just the sensation, but often there's a lot that's stored in the jaw. And so I think it's better to just be a lot more gentle, things like that.
You can cause bruising in the mouth, in the gums too. So less is more, probably, at least for the first few times.
Yeah. And just from a tension standpoint too, like if we're trying to release tension and we're trying to relax someone, they're coming in typically for a relaxing experience more than the sculpting, I think. When we're putting them in a fight or flight state, they're not going to feel released.
No.
So true.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Sorry, one more thing about the massage is also remembering to work on the neck and the chest as well, and doing that first, because if you're working on lymphatics, you need to open up the lymphatic system, and all of that is in your neck and your chest before you go into the face. Otherwise, you're going to cause kind of like a backup or not a blockage, just a backup of fluid. And so I think some people forget to do that. They go straight to facial massage, but you really need to work on the chest and the neck as well.
Yeah, exactly. Another big one for me that has kind of been in the last few years are clean skin apps, which I think we're the first ones to really address and acknowledge external or environmental hormone disruptors. Yeah. So for sure, that's a big one. However, the apps can be beneficial, but only to a certain degree, because they're not really taking into account sort of the percentage of those actives that they're flagging. Yeah. So there's a huge difference between 0.01% of something, and typically that ingredient is used for delivery into the skin, acceleration of other ingredients, versus 10% of something, which then can be a bit more detrimental to your health or just hormone disruption. So yeah, I think just the fear-based education around some of those apps, when we need to strip it all back, understand the chemistry of that product and why that chemical is there. I mean, at the end of the day, water is a chemical. So we can't avoid chemicals, but we need to understand the formulation. And that's really hard to do when you're just trusting an app to scan it and tell you if it's safe or not. So yeah, that's a big one for me, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of those now.
Yeah. I guess that kind of also leads into the pore clogging softwares as well, which I don't actually have a big problem with. I think it can be helpful when you're trying to really figure out what might be causing an issue for you. But I think same thing, just to be mindful of how those have been created and how they've been tested. A lot of those are tested in their whole form, and they've been actually tested on animals, I believe. So
yeah,
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to behave the same way on your skin. And then the amount of that ingredient in a product is going to really matter. It's not going to necessarily be in its whole form. So it may not be causing a problem for you. And so just taking those things always with a grain of salt. It can be helpful in some cases, but it's not be all end all for choosing product.
Yeah, we still have to kind of just use critical thinking at some point. And just like typically when we see things that are the volume is less than 1%, those can be listed really in any order on an ingredient list. Above a 1%, those are typically in order of like weight or how much volume they're taking up in a product. So that's something you could use, just like reading a product list quickly. Just scan with your eyes, where is it sitting on that product label? And that can kind of help determine how much of that product is in there sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I would say another pet peeve of mine, this is a little bit more working as an esthetician with clients. We work so hard in the treatment room to provide a corrective treatment, a result, and educate the client on what it is that they need to do for homework in order to maintain what we've done and to help accelerate the process to get them to the results that they want to get to. And then they sometimes will go and buy the cheapest version from the drugstore of whatever ingredients or products with the ingredients that we spoke about. And then, we're months in and they're disappointed with the results. And it's just so important to be all in when you're going into a skincare journey. What we do is like a personal trainer. You're not going to go to a personal trainer once a month and achieve a result. You'll need to do a lot of homework that includes nutrition and some continued movement throughout the month. There is homework, and it's the same thing with skincare. What you do every single day is going to have the biggest impact. And so quality ingredients, quality skincare is a big part of the success of a skin journey. So
yeah, I think spending a lot of time doing consultations and then giving so much, and this is years of education. This is, these are products that we've intentionally brought into a clinic that we believe in, that we've seen results from. So to ask us, can I go to the drugstore and what's the alternative to this product? There probably isn't one. And if there is, it's a tremendous amount of work for us to go through every product and understand, because again, when we've spoke about this before in the past, we carry 2 different medical grade lines in our clinic. On paper, those ingredients can look very similar. The difference is the delivery, the supporting ingredients around them. So those highlight ingredients are the actives, but how are they being delivered into the skin? What is the formulation of that product? So 2 hyaluronic acid serums are not going to be the same. So to ask us to give an alternative to that from a drugstore and take the time to go through an ingredient list and guarantee that it's not going to break you out is just something that we can't do,
Even just from like an integrity standpoint, we are a small business and we offer free consultations.
Yeah.
And, we don't offer those free consultations purely to, just offer free services. It is to educate you on how we here can help support you through your skincare journey and your goals. And so, to come in for a free consultation, which many clinics offer, only for recommendations on drugstore products is just a really hard one for small businesses to swallow. It's just not a sustainable business model. And yeah, we are here to support you and educate you on how we can help you here. But drugstore is just not something that we use. So
Yeah.
we can't really
I mean, it's a
guarantee
commitment,
anything.
right? And it's teamwork. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you're looking for results. And, you know, we have tried and true products. We have treatments that we really believe in can get you there. We're happy to lay out a plan for you and help you and support you in that journey. But if you're not holding up your end, which is using products that are really going to move the dial, really, then you can't be frustrated at the end of the day if you're not getting results.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do a lot of pivoting. There's sometimes products that we'll recommend, and then a few months in, we're like, you know what? I think we need to pivot this way. We can do that because we really have so much time. We've put so much time into understanding those products and seeing the results and the movement with our clients and within ourselves. So we can really make those adjustments. That's really difficult for us to do if you're using a couple, but like mostly drugstore or Sephora products. And then you're committed to being here every month for your treatments, but you're not doing your part of it, which is using products that are actually going to, you know, get you the end result.
Also from a safety standpoint too, like if we don't 100% know what it is that you're using and then we're about to go and resurface your skin with a laser, that's a really scary thing to do. Like we have no idea how your skin's going to respond. If you're not totally aware of all the ingredients that are in the product, you can't share that with us. And we are taking a massive risk.
Especially with pigmentation.
And higher fits.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think you have to think of your products as treatment as well. And that's what you're doing when you get medical grade products. And I think some people get concerned about price when it comes to purchasing medical grade. And I think this is something we may have talked about in other episodes. But when you actually look at the price compared to some other products, even from Sephora, they kind of end up being very similar. And you're just getting a lot more for what you're paying when you do get a medical grade skincare product.
And a lot less filler.
Yeah.
So instead of using 6 pumps of your moisturizer,
that's true, we're
using 2. We're, you know, educating you on how much you should be using. That's also important. It's not overusing product. And typically that is when you're transitioning from drugstore or department store products, it's like the overuse of a product and how quickly we've seen patients come in and blow through a serum in 2 weeks. That's concerning.
So
that's a lot of overuse of a product. You don't need to use that much of an active on your skin. You shouldn't be. So
totally.
Another thing, again, something that I used to do on my face is DIY skincare. I think honestly, just being like in the naturopathic world, I'm always kind of inclined to figuring out what I can do at home. And so I think before I knew better, I was kind of making all my little potions and mixing things together and putting them on my face. And sometimes it was like apple cider vinegar. I've put lemon on my face. I made like an oatmeal mask. I've done everything. But it can be really harsh on your skin. Food kind of needs to be separate. It shouldn't be being put on your skin because a lot of them can be quite stripping for the skin and really change the pH balance of the skin. And then you kind of end up with more problems than you had before. So I would just say stay away from the DIY.
Yeah. That's a big one. Especially with TikTok.
Yes, TikTok. We're calling you out.
Okay, well, that feels a little bit better to get that off our chest.
Right.
Okay, we're going to jump into our Ask an SD segment. Is there a question on there that maybe resonates with today's topic a little bit you can answer?
Yeah, we have one. Is there a treatment you see being done incorrectly all the time?
Okay, well, I'm going to reverse this a little bit. So not so much that it's being done incorrectly, but there's a lot of estheticians ranting about the methods around microneedling. And, you know, one is saying it's not good to go up and down motions. Another one is saying it's not good to go in circular motions. And we're, you know, kind of trashing on everybody as a whole. But what a lot of these people aren't realizing is their training was specific to a specific device. Each device is engineered for different types of movement. So, for example, we have one, the eDermastab. It's Health Canada approved. It was one of the first ones to be Health Canada approved, and it is designed and engineered to go in circular motions. If we were to go in many up and down motions, that person would be left with cat scratch like marks on their face. So circular motion is where we get the best result. Circular motion using, say, the DP4 would not be great. You'd tear the skin. So let's stop, assuming that your training and your device is the only way. There are multiple devices out there, lots of manufacturers out there, and they are all engineered in different ways. So let's trust the SDs that they are doing what they were trained to do based on that specific device and not call everybody out. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Well, that was a fun one. I feel lighter.
Yeah, I feel better. A little less tense.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you soon.